16 games in Boston, bro. I don't have to cap about me being. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't have to cap in my story, bro. This is my life story. I don't have to. I don't have to cap. I don't have to fucking cap about my life story. That's what I'm saying. Y'all not fucking getting it. I don't have to cap to y'all. What happened? Gordon Hayward goes down with one of the worst injuries we have ever seen. He went down with one of the worst injuries we have ever seen. You feel me? I'm not gonna respond. I'm not gonna respond to the hits. I got y'all, bro. One of the worst injuries, man. I literally saw it happen live, and I had to say prayers right after that because I think we all felt the air be sucked out of the arena when that happened. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. So, boom, that happens game one. We lose Gordon. We spent all the preseason playing together. We spent all the preseason getting to know one another. Bam, Gordon goes down. Bam, okay, cool. Now who steps up in that? JT. Right? We all knew JT was nice at Duke. But do we expect JT to be that nice his rookie year? Yes, I did. I knew he was nice. I knew it. I knew JB was nice. And when I say JT and JB, I'm talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I knew they were nice. Did I know Marcus Smart was as great as he is now, like a potential defensive player there? Absolutely, bro. I saw it every day in practice. I knew how great these guys were and still are to this day. So, bam, we go through the season. We go on a 16-game win streak, 15-game win streak. I don't even remember what it is. Everybody was writing us off. We lost our first 3 games. Oh, my gosh, what's going on with the Celtics? Yada, yada, yada. All right, so fast forward. We go through the 15-game win streak. We end up going we end up splitting the rest of the games the rest of that season. Around game 60, my knee started acting up. And when my knee started acting up, I had to go back to Cleveland, where I got my original surgery, to get 2 screws taken out of my knee. I don't know if anybody in this chat has ever, I don't think anyone's ever, if you've ever got knee surgery and you had screws put in your knee, you can understand what I'm saying. But if you have not, I'm going to do my best job to explain it to you. I had 2 screws in my knee with wires tying in my kneecap. I got that done in 2015 after I went down in the first finals. So fast forward 2018, my knee starts acting up. They take out the wiring. They take out the wiring in my kneecap, and they test it for an infection. They take out the wiring. It comes back positive for an infection. I now have to get a PICC line going from my bicep all the way to my heart to take antibiotics. I had a PICC line, and I still have the scar to this day, going straight from my bicep all the way to my heart. It was one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever dealt with. It was one of the most embarrassing things because my daughter's asking me, what is that in my arm? People are asking me, like, why are you not going outside? Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? So not only did I have an infection in my knee, but they had to take out the 2 screws, and I was left with 2 holes in my kneecaps that I eventually had to fill. But just that traumatic experience alone kept me out of the playoffs. I was supposed to be back in those playoffs. I was supposed to be back in those playoffs in 2019. When we made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, I was supposed to be back. But because I had an infection in my knee, I couldn't come back. So now they had to take the screws out. And by the way, these are the details the media would never tell y'all. Ever, because it's all about performance. Oh my gosh, you didn't show up. Oh my gosh, you let your team down. Oh my gosh, you sold on us. Oh my gosh, you let us down. Oh my gosh. And it's like, literally, I dealt with one of the most traumatic experiences in my life dealing with that knee injury. So I don't need no sympathy from anybody. I don't. I'm over it at this point. I got through it. But fast forward that summer, I'm coming off knee surgery. I have muscle atrophy on my left leg. My quad looks like a small chicken wing, bro. I have no bounce. I have no athleticism. I'm slow as shit. I'm sitting in bed. and I'm just frustrated. What led what happened after that, after I'm sitting at home and I'm dealing with knee surgery, I don't know if you've ever been injured, if anybody's ever been injured, right? If anybody's ever been injured, when you can't walk or you can't do the normal things that you want in life, bro, that leads to depression, bro. Yeah, that leads to depression. That leads to mental health issues because when your body and your mind are not in alignment, it leads to different issues. It leads to different things that you have to deal with. So I had to deal with internal stuff. So coming into 2019, I'm already feeling like I'm myself, but I'm only a shell of myself. I am not really expressing how I'm truly feeling. So 2019 hits, right? Or 2018-19 season hits. We come back. We're predicted to win the NBA championship. We're predicted to go far in the finals. We're predicted to, you know what I mean, like win the whole thing. Like everybody's picking us number one. We have, I forgot about my boy T-Row too, Scary Terry. I forgot my boy. Like we had Marcus Morris. We had Aaron Baines. We had I don't want to forget anybody either. We had Shane Larkin on the year before, but then we got what's my boy's name? I don't want to forget anybody's name. What's my boy's name? It's slipping my head. But we had every position that was filled, man. It was supposed to be great. So boom, I go to management in Boston, and I'm like, this is maybe a week into preseason. I'm like, yo, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. That's what I said. I told Boston, I'm like, I'm coming back. And the reason why I said I'm coming back is because I had plans up my sleeve, y'all. When I tell you I had plans up my sleeve, I had plans up my sleeve. I'm not going to tell y'all who I had in mind or what trade was going to happen because that'll lead to speculation, but I had plans up my motherfucking sleeve. I was like, bruh, I'm coming back. Coming back to Boston. If y'all have me, I made sure it's like, if y'all have me, I'm coming back. So I'm hyped. I say it in front of the Boston crowd. I say it in front of everybody. I tell my teammates, right? I'm like, I'm coming back. I'm signing this deal. And I only said it at that time because I was sure, I was certain, I was happy. I'm like, yo, this is about to be the greatest day of my life after the season is done. I'm about to sign whatever the shit is, right? You know what I mean? It's not so much about the money per se. I want to make sure my family's taken care of, but I was literally happy being able to get that off my chest so I didn't have to answer any free agency questions, right? And a week later, after I'm living out a dream, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy as ever. A week later, my grandfather passes. He transitions. My grandfather transitions, and it's one of the hardest bit of news I could take in my life because you know that man definitely inspired me beyond words. You know what I mean? Like he really impacted my life in very positive ways, and you know, it's still hard for me to even talk about, but my grandfather passing after that, I felt like I was letting a lot of my family members down because I was spending a lot more time dedicating myself to being great in the game, but I wasn't spending enough time being a great family member. And probably some of y'all don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about, and this message will go over your head, and you know what I mean, this shit will end up going viral tomorrow, right? But honestly, it was never just about Boston. It was never about you know what I mean, like trying to make sense of a decision I made a week prior to that. All I could do is be there for my family. And like again, I don't really need sympathy, y'all. I appreciate the support, but I had to get through it. And when I when I had to deal with that, I don't know if anybody's ever had to deal with losing a loved one, but you go through different stages of grief. And guess what I had to go through? Guess what I had to go through in front of the public eye? Me grieving. So I'm angry, you know what I'm saying? I'm depressed. I'm over here dealing with real life grief. I cried, about losing my grandfather, bro. And you don't like, you control and hate all you want, but it's just real shit that goes on in life where because I'm in the public eye, I can't escape having human emotions. Like somehow y'all motherfuckers think that we robots out here and that we don't feel feelings, like, and we don't go through real life circumstances, but we still have to go out and perform. So my grandfather transitions, and then after that we go out on a West Coast trip, and I go to his memorial, and I end up playing a game that next day. And when I tell you that for the rest of the season I wasn't really myself, I definitely wasn't, and I wasn't having fun playing basketball as much anymore, and that started to spill over into our team goals, you know what I mean? And I'm definitely not ever a person that comes in and says, look at me and what's going on. I'm just real. And when I look back on it, would I have done things differently? Absolutely. Would I have done things differently? Absolutely. Did I have to learn from my mistakes in the public eye? Absolutely. Did I have to deal with the consequences of going throughout the season and then making a decision to go back home and be with my family? Absolutely. But let me tell you about the positives. Let me tell you about the positives what ended up happening. I learned how to cope with grief. I learned how to cope with myself going through depression. I learned how to go seek out help from family members. I learned how to make connections stronger. I learned how to admit to being wrong in situations where you feel justified to be right, but really you just got to move on in life. You just got to put one step in front of the other. That those are some of the positives, and the other positives are I really learned more about myself and what makes me motivated every day to get up. Because if any of y'all know anybody that's dealt with losing a loved one, you can deal with suicidal thoughts. You feel me? You can deal with suicidal thoughts, and that's just one of the things of grief. Like, you don't want to live here anymore on this earth, and that's the realness of life. You feel me? That nobody wants to talk about. And it's not, it don't and by the way, don't come at the fan base either. Don't come at their fan base. It's all good. Let that rock. You know what I mean? Because I'll get that in a minute. But throughout that season, 2018, 2019, I'm dealing with all this. We end up going into the first round against the Pacers, um, and we go into the second round against the Bucks. And it was just a different level, bro. It was a different level of physicality. It was a different level of focus. And us as a team, we were still really young. We were only in our second year together. If we all stayed together for 5, 6, 7 years, then I'm pretty sure that, uh, who knows? Y'all can speculate what would have happened, but that didn't. You know what I mean? We had two small years together, and I'm judged based on 2 years of being with a team, and then leaving that team to go to my hometown to play, and all of the speculation, all the shit that gets thrown on my name. I feel like, again, people just hide their hand all the time. So I had to learn a lot once I left that point in my career. Being in Boston taught me a lot. I definitely dealt with a lot of, shall I say, overt. and over the top racism even being a player in Boston. I'm not saying that Boston's racist. Don't ever fucking quote me in saying that shit. All I'm saying is that the reality of the situation is I dealt with a lot of shit that I never talked about because if I wasn't performing up to their standards or expectations, let's just say words were flying everywhere. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, the way that they were treating other teams, and not just in basketball, but in other sports and other entertainment venues, it got to be too much. And I couldn't defend that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna say that it was comfortable for me, bro, because it really wasn't. It was very uncomfortable for me. So towards the end of the season, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And then, I had to make a move to go back home and be with my family. And that's what it is.